That's enough fiddling for today. Glad you're here. If you don't know who I am, I'm FiddlinJonny, and this is my fiddle channel. And it's also my magic review. And boy, do we have a big one today. This is Marc Oberon's E-Wave. Really interesting effect, trick, and something I think is really right for probably a certain segment of the magician population out there. So anyway, stick around and we'll get right into it. Hello everyone, hope you are doing well. Welcome back to the channel. I took a little break. I took a vacation and that was awesome. Felt nice. It's the first time I've done a vacation in the last year and a half. Got back from vacation and then immediately got sick, and that put me out for the last week. So anyway, I'm finally feeling better and am back at the reviews. So there's this one today, Marc Oberon's E-Wave. So let's talk about what the heck always be on your spectator's wavelength is the tagline on this. So what is the effect on this? So in essence, you are able to bestow ESP powers to your participant. And there's multiple different routines or ways that, that it's structured. But in essence, what you have is you start off with the 5 ESP symbols, and you will first have sort of a 50-50 test and have your spectator choose only by looking at the backs of the cards in terms of which one is their selected ESP card. So there's a 50-50 chance. It then builds from there. They get that correct, and then the performer will add in one more card. So now you have 3 cards, and of the 3 cards they will then have to pick one of those chosen cards and which position it's in. They're successful with that. You then add 5 of the ESP symbols, only seeing their backs. A chosen symbol is chosen by the spectator, it can be fine that way, and they will know in which position that, from the fan of cards, where that ESP symbol is. So they'll be successful 100% of the time. And then the closer or the kicker with it is that you will use a board, and here comes your board, and on the board it has your 5 ESP symbols, and your spectator, by looking at the back, will pair up, in essence, each one of those with its respective symbol, and then it is revealed that they have created a 100% match out of those. So that's what the effect is, and you can of course do it multiple ways, but in essence that's what it is. You can build a routine around that. So let's talk a little bit about what are you going to get. So you're going to get, I don't want to go into too much detail here on some of this stuff because it would reveal it, but you'll get enough ESP cards to be able to do the routine. You're going to get the presentation board that allows you to sort of do the 100% matching of all 5 of the symbols, and then you're going to get a 40-minute tutorial that's done streamed through Vimeo and that platform. So that's what you're going to get. Now, more importantly, how are the instructions? I think Marc does a great job. In fact, I think this, in my opinion, is one of the better tutorials that I've seen of his recently. And I think he does good tutorials. I thought this one was actually a little bit better than some of his earlier ones. And his earlier ones have been good too. So it's done essentially in a studio where it's sort of a black background. He is lit along with the board with the ESP symbols on it. So he really pops from the background, easy to hear, easy to see. You're going to see Marc demonstrate at the very beginning of it a full performance with the camera person being the person that he's doing the demo to. And then he's going to go over what you receive in your packet here. He's going to go over the method and how to perform, and then he'll add additional ideas. I think the thing from the instructional video here, that's the takeaway. It's good, well lit, well mic'd. But Marc includes a lot of sort of subtlety in the presentation. I watched the video, I think I've watched the instructional video at least 4 times now. And each time I watch the instructional video, I recognize now, having practiced the routine more, the importance of some of the subtlety that he goes over. A lot of times when people do tutorials, they'll spend like, okay, this piece is really important and the fine aspect of it. Marc doesn't sort of address it as like, this is a real fine point and spends a lot of time with it. He points out this is something that helps you. Here's how to do it. He'll demo it, does it, and then moves on and doesn't punctuate a lot. And I don't think that matters, but he does address sort of the finer points that make a real difference in the performance itself. I think specifically around handling and the handling of your cards, addressing angle issues, addressing sort of the nuance of why to hold the set of cards in a certain place within your hands versus a different place, and the difference that that can make are all sort of the finer points that he touches on there. So, of course, how are the props and the gimmicks? Because you really get props and gimmicks in this. They're all great. They're fine. I don't have a single thing to say poorly about these. The cards are nice, high quality. They're a bit thick, but I like that, the ESP cards, because I want them to be durable and last a long time. And these are durable and will last a long time. And they seem to have, I don't know, they're plastic or something, but you know, if they got a little smudged or dirty over, 100 uses, you could probably wipe them down and clean them up a little bit. So, so they're durable in that respect, and I really like. The board that you get is great. It's fine. I don't have any issues with it. It does its job, serves its purpose. So all of the props and gimmicks are fine. They're going to last you a very long time. I will add one thing that I kind of wish. I wish there had been included like a little miniature stand or something to put your, here, I'll just pull it out, the board to sit on. So, and I guess maybe that's how like I would have preferred it, and another performer would probably like it differently. But here is the board that you're going to receive right here. Here's the front, here's the back. There's nothing sort of gimmicked on the back. It's got this sort of greenish purple protective on it, which you can take off. And he does the presentation in part having it on a stand and then holding it in his own hand. Just would have liked if it came with its own little stand. I found when I put together a demo of it. I don't know if I'll post it or not. I don't know if I like the demo well enough to post yet, but it just would have been nice to have a little stand for it. So now I'm sort of digging around to find a stand that would be appropriate to use in the real world. So, but that is the board that you're getting. So nice there. Should last a long time. All right. So let's talk about what is the skill level. Skill level is beginner. This is beginner level in terms of there's no hard slides, any of that sort of stuff. And I'll add even though it's beginner, and anybody could do this, within 30 minutes of watching the video and practicing a little bit and performing it. It may not be great after 30 minutes, but you can perform it because there's no slides that you have to figure out, or just subtle movements. So it really is beginner level. However, it does feel like this is a pretty cool, damn cool trick at a beginner level. Because this is something like Marc uses in his professional career, and it's sort of awesome that with the beautiful simplicity of this that a beginner can do. It's a great trick, and I think, of course, like with most sort of like ESP or mentalism effects, that it really relies on performance so much, so it allows you the space to really work on performance when doing this. So. Beginner skill level, but really feels like sort of, it wouldn't be where I would start if you were just starting off in Magic, probably. But anyway, anyone can do it. All right, let's talk a little bit about the pros. It's a professional level routine that's ready to go out of the box, that's relatively easy to do, that's going to literally last for hundreds, there's a new word I invented, hundreds of performances. I had mentioned earlier that Marc's going to teach you a lot of the subtleties, and these subtleties really do make a difference. Hats off to Marc for a great tutorial. Also, Marc gives great credit for where he received his inspiration for this effect and who it builds upon. And I'm going to highlight this just because I thought it was really good. So he gives a lot of credit to a number of folks. The ending, which he feels like really punched things up and made it better, was inspired by something that Max Maven did. And when he reached out to Max Maven and was talking about it, Max Maven had recommended that he had learned that portion from the 13 Steps to Mentalism by Corinda. And I think it's a great example if you really do want to learn some great mentalism or magic for that. Go to the old books, go to the old classics. A lot of them are great methods with some cool updating, are really fantastic, or you can just make them your own. So anyway, that's sort of where some of the inspiration came from it, and I appreciate Marc really sort of sharing a lot about where people that he credited that helped him along the way with this. So Marc is going to add multiple presentations and scripts with this. And when I say multiple presentations, it's essentially a framing. So do you want to frame it as bestowing power to your spectator having ESP powers? Do you want to give them the powers to be lucky and to be able to do it? You can do it as a performance of influence and how you're able to influence your spectator without them knowing. He provides a really nice script, I think, for doing the power of influence that I really, really liked, and I thought could probably be adapted for other routines as well that you might do within the world of mentalism. So he also does, I think, mentions once a relatively funny one about don't pick the circle. So you can offer someone like, I'll give you $20, but out of the 5 cards, just make sure you don't pick the circle. And every single time, of course, they end up picking the circle. So it could be a good comedic one. He credits, I think, David Regal, and my apologies to others who he gives credit to for helping to inspire that. I would add, and I've said this many times before, is that any time that something is released from a worker, from a performer who uses it day in and day out or as part of their set, you know that it's probably going to be really solid. And this is a great example. This is something that comes directly from Marc's act itself, and so it's a great worker. You can also do this if you don't like the idea of using the board as part of it. You can do a routine that just uses the cards. I don't know if I like that as much, but that is an option here if you wanted to. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the cons here. Cons are like the cost. It's a bit spendy. I think if you're an amateur magician and just starting out, it costs $150. I think at that cost, that's something you may want to consider whether that's a price you want to pay. If you're a worker, I think it's a no-brainer. It pays for itself, no problem. But it is a little bit on the spendy side, in my opinion. So something for you to consider. It's also not going to be practical for a lot of performing types of gigs. It really is appropriate for your parlor and small stage. I think that's personally where it plays best. If you're a person who does only walk around, it's not going to work for a walk around type of a gig. You don't want to be walking around with carrying the board from table to table or doing table hopping or restaurant work. I just don't think that would work. So and one other con I would add, I mentioned it earlier, would have loved to have had some sort of a mini stand to be able to display it on when you're working. So anyway, that's it. At that cost, it would have been relatively easy, I think, to throw that in. All right, who's going to like this? If you're a mentalist, you're going to like this. I think that's really where it fits. If you're someone who does parlor work, fantastic for folks who are doing that. Or, look, you're a card magician, you want to add something different, and you're doing a small show, I think this could be great for you as well. All right, that's it. I feel like this is a really easy one because there are so few drawbacks. If you watch the trailer, you get a sense of what this trick is, and then you sort of have to decide whether that fits for you or not. It's easy to perform. You're not going to have to learn any difficult sleights, and yeah, I think that's it. All right, I am trying to get as close as I can to 1,000 subs. We're getting closer, so if you haven't subbed, please do so. It would be really appreciated. And leave a comment and a like. Those don't cost you anything, and I really appreciate it. All right, everyone, thanks for being here on FiddlinJonny. Remember, keep fiddling around with your magic. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.